artists were a little bit more aware of the fact that, as you well know for your program, how many people are out there trying to get exposure. It's just an enormous amount of music, an enormous amount of musicians, and not as many of us guys who are putting out the good music. So how do you get our attention is what they need to really understand, I think.
I got to agree with you there, and you're absolutely right. There are a lot of artists out there that I don't think it's all because they are lazy or, just overlook it. I think in many cases they were never taught, they never learned what it takes to reach out to, the people who promote the music and get to make that connection, because, you've got to promote your music. You've got to get your name out there. And unless you know how to do it and do it right, it's going to be a long, hard battle.
Very true. And as you mentioned, I wear many hats. LadyLake is sort of a one-stop shop. We do so many things for so many people, and not the same thing for everyone. But I am a fully trained A&R, and I did work for an independent label. And as I came up in the industry, I made sure that I learned what I needed to learn by consulting the people who do those various jobs. A very good friend of mine was the head of A&R at a rather known label, and he taught me how to submit artists for opportunities. Another friend of mine is a program director for an independent station, and she taught me how to correctly submit radio. I was friends with a rather large manager who taught me the P's and Q's of building an artist in their locality. So I sat at the feet of many people as I started out and really was a sponge to people and learned, what to do and what not to do. And so I'm very proud of the artists that I represent. I'm very proud of their careers and having had a hand in, some more than others, depending on what capacity I was working with them. David Martinez is a mutual friend of ours, and as you know, he has grown tremendously with us. Lori Diamond and Fred Abatelli, we've done promotions for since way back in the MySpace days. So we're no stranger to the trends in the industry and how things are changing and what it is you have to do. So this year we opened the door, and already we're experiencing all sorts of interesting things with the people who are trying to apply for promotions.
Oh, I bet that's a lot of fun. I really wish I could be there just to watch, because that has to be interesting as all get out. Tell me, you've alluded to the fact that you've had many artists, and we know we've had several of them here on the show, and everyone has nothing but nice things to say about you. As a matter of fact, I think in the 80, 90 years we've known you, I don't think I've ever heard anyone badmouth you. That's in this business, that's quite an accomplishment in and of itself. So you can give yourself a little pat on the back for that one. I wondered if you could start with a summation of what not to do in reaching out. I know there's so many things that we can cover. We're not going to ask you to, take on the world as your client and go through, all and everything, because we couldn't possibly do that in one show. But what are the things, or the biggest thing that you have seen people repeatedly do that you would say is something they should not do if they want to be a star?
Well, I think, first of all, you have to realize that every opportunity is an opportunity. There aren't big ones and small ones, because you don't know who knows who in this business. You don't know what something can parlay into. So professional conduct is necessary in all of your transactions, whether it be something you think is very small and not going to pan out, to something that you think is the biggest opportunity possible. To have a polite manner, to address someone correctly, to send a polite email. It doesn't have to be flowery and formal, but it does have to be polite and in its intent, to say, hey, you, call me tomorrow, here's the phone number, and ask for Joe. which is actually how someone applied this year.
Oh my
I was
God.
just like, well, yeah, that will happen absolutely never. So, because I have a whole long list of people waiting to have a phone conversation,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
Joe won't be one of those people. Needless to say, also people who create their own genre because they think, wow, isn't that cool? I'm going to stand out, so let me combine 5 unrelated types of music and brandish myself as that. And then, by the way, I have a new record. Can you place my record that is these 5 genres of music? You know, and where would you begin with that? Because, as you know, most people have some sort of a flow for their show, even if it isn't specifically one genre.
Sure.
Most promoters, I do acoustic, I do indie, I do singer-songwriter, I do folk, I'll do country rock, but I don't do country per se, I don't do gospel. You know, there's some things I just don't do. They're not my field of expertise, and I'm not connected. So maybe if you would research the person who you're approaching a little bit, because everyone's online. It's not hard to Google someone and see what they do. Look at the artist that they handle and see if it's even a good fit before you approach them. That would be smart. It would save everyone time. Perhaps if your music is foreign and you're foreign and you're trying to get an American promoter, that you would have someone write the letter for you so that it is actually English. I had a lovely young lady come with beautiful music, but I couldn't make heads or tails over what it was she was asking to do. So needless to say, that's not going to probably go anywhere, you know, because I don't really speak her language. I believe she was from Italy. We just get so many different things. You know, you could just go on and on and on. So in a nutshell, what you should do is have a nice cover letter, friendly email of approach, you know, citing what it is that you're doing. Well, I'm on tour this year. I'd like my tour promoted, or I'm dropping a new record. You know, what can you do for my record? Whatever it is that you're interested. Or maybe your social isn't so good. You need a boost on your social media. You have some more followers, some more technique. There's a lot of different things we could do for you. Update your bio, update your one sheet, help you with your websites, you know, what things should look like, continuity of materials. It goes on and on, but it does depend on the level that the artist is at when they come to you, what they need specifically. Make yourself clear. But the people who come with these crazies, I mean, I just tell stories, not in public, you know, with my friends, with the Envision group. We know who we are. We know who we hang with. You know, all the other shows. There's such good quality shows and wonderful hosts and DJs, I think, that we work with.
You definitely do have a good entourage.
And, you know, but see, the problem with that is we talk amongst ourselves. Sure. And, you know, in this business, what goes faster than, you know, hey, did you hear this? And hey, did you hear that? So when you're approaching one of us, in essence, you're approaching all of us.
Absolutely. John Bon Jovial, you're just gnawing at the bit there. I know you want to jump in.
Gnawing away. Yeah, Cindy, you hit on something a couple of minutes ago that piqued my interest, because having been in terrestrial radio for as many years as I was, and of course with David as well, back 30 or 40 years ago, there were various and sundry ways to get a record played on the air, some of them legal, some of them illegal. But today, when there is such this gargantuan inundation of media, not to mention the fact that with the destruction of the duopoly rules, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, and now, you know, companies like Clear Channel, otherwise known as iHeartMedia, own 2,500 stations. How do you get your musicians' music played on the radio today when you have to deal with these corporate people? I'll be polite. These corporate people.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Frequently, that requires a lot of research. Let's say you have an artist in a certain market, and they're very deeply in there. Like, I know South Texas because I have David Martinez there, so I've researched the area. So we know what stations will play an independent. And in fact, the iHeart station there does have an independent show. But that's just because we know them, because we've researched, and we're very well networked. Wherever I've had an artist for many years, I'm known in that area. If I would go to Corpus Christi right now, people would know me just because I work with the Arts League and several of the radio stations and the Corpus Christi Songwriters, and then the Nashville Songwriters has a chapter there. So it's about being connected. It's about being well networked. It's about research, and it's about knowing the genre of music that you're placing and where does it fit. But certainly, it is very difficult, and it is a challenge. It is a struggle. But I would say it's the know-how, the networking, the research. And it does take time. I mean, you're not going to go into an area and meet everyone in a year. I have had David for several years, but he's gotten such notoriety that he's sort of a local celebrity. I'm very proud of him. So, and it's the same with our Boston artists, Lori Diamond and Fred Abatelli. They're the same. And now we have Linda Marks there, who heads up the Women in Music Gathering, and so she's the head of a music group. So she has notoriety for what she does there. So it is a lot of networking, I would say, more than anything else.
Absolutely. I know one of the things that I was taught through the years was to meet the people and establish a relationship, so that you're not just another contributor looking for help. You get to be someone they know. And I personally found that to be a very effective way of doing it. We are just about out of time, Cindy. I want to be sure.
I don't want to hear that. I love being on your show. I'll have to come back another time if I'm invited.
Absolutely. You're always welcome. And you come up with another subject you'd like to talk about, we'll get you back here. Now, real quick, before we have you introduce the little special you've got there, tell the folks how they can contact you if they have questions or want to submit to you.
All of my information is online. You can catch me at twitter.com/LadyLakeMusic. That's my biggest interface, and submission information and my LinkedIn bio are in the profile. So anyone is welcome to contact me, and I would be glad to listen to their music.
Very good. Thank you again, Cindy from LadyLake Music. You can find her online, as she just said. And Cindy, I understand you brought us some music, some new music from an old friend of ours.
Oh, Thomas Claxton is, first of all, that guy, the firecracker, he just returned from the NAMM conference where he was in the booth for Gator Cases running a podcast called Sittin' In with Thomas Claxton. Numerous celebrities he interviewed, and I contacted him when you graciously offered to have one of my artists air, and I said, hey, you got anything new? And so it was so new that it was new to me. So it's new to I've heard it, but it's new to the both of us, Land of Extreme by Thomas Claxton.
Very good. Cindy, thank you again so much. We look forward to you coming back and seeing us again real soon. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, brand new from Thomas Claxton, Land of Extreme.
Take it as a one.